Yai dai 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 dai. Ay dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Ay dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Ay ay ay. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dum. Ay, 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 yay, ay, 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 yay, ay, 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 yay, ay, 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 dum. Yay, ay, 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 yay, ay, 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 yay, ay. Yida, hida, hida, yida, hida, hida, dum. Yida, hida, 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 yida, hida, yida, 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 hida, hida, yida, hida, hida, dum. Yida, hida, 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 yida, hida, hida, hida. Yai hidai dai, ay ay dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, ay 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 dai dam. Boker Tov, good morning. A few hiccups. I don't know what's happening. A little bit late this morning. Just no reason. Just here and signing in and getting on. I don't know what's going on. But I think we're all feeling like that, just in general. I went yesterday to pick up dinner instead of door dashing it. How smart. Not as good as making it, but anyway, nevertheless, I went to pick up dinner and I was waiting for the food and then I was paying for it. And there was a flyer for you could order Thanksgiving dinner from this place. And so I said to the girl that was behind the register counter, I said something like, "Oh, maybe this is an option." She said, "A lot of people are taking the option." Thought to myself, "Yeah, well, you work here, so of course that sounds like, yes, a lot of people are going to do it. You should do it too." I said, "I don't know, does anybody even really feel in the spirit of Thanksgiving in cooking and the preparation and the hours and the money and all of those things?" And she looked at me and she said, "It's in the air. Does anybody really feel like doing anything? There's something in the air that is different. There's something in the world that we're living in that just doesn't allow us the same excitement when we come to milestones and holidays." And in that moment, I felt it more prevalent than ever. This girl is right. And she was probably 20 years old, studying on the side of the register for whatever class she was taking, with a bright future, I'm sure, ahead of her. And even the kids are feeling it. It just doesn't quite feel the same. And that doesn't only go for Thanksgiving, of course. But it kind of just, there's something in the air that tells us life just isn't the same in this moment. Now, I don't know her religion, her faith background, her ethnicity necessarily. I don't know the demographic of her family and her life, her political party, her financial status. I don't know any of that. But I know that she's feeling the same way that I'm feeling, that you're feeling, that we're just feeling in general. And when I was thinking about this week's parsha, this week's portion, Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah, we're quickly reminded that two things happen in this parsha. One, Sarah dies. So it's talking about life of Sarah, but Sarah dies. And at the end, Abraham dies also. And so there's deep questioning in this parsha, in this portion, dealing with death. And are they equal or unequal as they are momentous in the history of the Jewish people? And so as the portion opens up, it talks about Sarah's lifetime, the span of her life, adding the years together, that it came to 127 years. Okay. There's a story, there's a legend, there's a midrash that says, upon hearing that Abraham was going to nearly sacrifice, to slaughter her son with a knife on the altar, it was like Sarah's spirit died there prematurely from the very pain of the thought of that. The suffering of her son actually destroyed her own well-being. Whereas at the end of the parsha, the end of the portion, Abraham dies peacefully, a natural death. The total span of his life, 175 years. Oh, Torah. And Abraham breathed his last breath at the ripe age, contented, gathered to his kin. Sarah dies in response to her son's near sacrificial death, and Abraham lives long enough to witness his twin grandson's 15th birthday, as it were. But what does that tell us about now, in this moment? Perhaps the correlation between who dies at 127 or who dies at 175, who dies at 10 and who dies at 97. The way the portion opens up with the name alone, Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah, in a human lifetime. In a human lifetime, we, our children, have seen more than we need to see. Not to say that we want our lifetime to be cut short because we've already seen too much, but it is different. As Jews, we have seen and we have seen and we have seen again generationally the atrocities that have befallen on our people. And in these moments, we've seen it again, too raw, too personal, too real, too right now. We see it for our people. We see it for humanity. We see it there in the Middle East, but we see it here. And so while we feel like we're not living for the last 31 days, 32 days, we're not living. We're going through the motions, certainly. We're not, most of us are not laying in bed, putting the pillow over our head or sinking our head in the sand, but we're going through the motions. We're going through the motions because we know that life is a blessing and that's what we do, but we're not living our life to our potential because of the weight of the world that is pressing against us. It's holding us down. It's keeping us in. We feel entrapped. And yet, we are not captive. When we hear something's captivating, we think about it as, I'm on the edge of my seat. I can hardly wait. I am ready to jump with 2 feet in. But in these moments, we feel captive. We feel trapped. We feel betrayed. We feel hurt. We feel. And for many of us, we also simultaneously feel connected more than ever. Why? because they're trying to destroy our people. And so even people that I would never think that would be on any side of anything are showing up for our people because they cannot believe it. How can they do this to us? But when I think about Chayei Sarah and I think about the life of Sarah, this is our reminder this son is really something else. We are reminded about living our lives. In two schools, one in our home school and one in my niece's school, and it's been in other schools too. The rise in anti-Semitism, the feeling of fear, the idea of when the war broke out, when the massacre began, as we noticed it and realized it and we were aware of it, everybody jumped on board. What can I do? When there is trauma, when there is stress, it is you go into this mode, which is if I can do something, I feel like I'm part of it. I feel like I've done something. But the pain of the world that we're feeling right now is that feeling of what can I really do? I have to feel my feelings because I've donated already. I've showed up to do this. I've prayed. I've rallied. I've vigiled. I've done all these things. But what I haven't done is figured out how to live in a way where I can feel the pain and I can still live. We can't say Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live, if we're not really living. To be existing and to be living are two different things. Let us remind ourselves, easier said than done, but let us remind ourselves that there are joys that we yearn to share, that there are simchas that deserve to be noticed and mentioned and lived, that not every moment of every day is tragic and tragedy, though our hearts are broken. It doesn't mean that you care less about the situations around us, but it means that you're vowing to live. We have to live. We have to live as a people. We have to live as individuals. We have to live as our family units. We have to go on living. The reality of our future, it's going to be there because there's no option, for we don't lose hope. But we must remind ourselves that our feelings are real, that our lives are worth living. And when that time comes for our lives to be done, will you look back and say that I truly lived? Or will you say that I wasted, ruined, lost? No one wants that. I should have, I could have, I would have. There's nothing quite as heavy as that. So as we continue to show up for our people, as we continue to speak out against the ridiculous nature of the opposing team, and we try to have difficult conversations with those that maybe can be swayed, that are somewhere in the middle, that are just unsure and don't have the facts, let us remember that the reason that we have the conversations, the reasons that we show up, the reasons that we don't lose hope is because we are making the efforts to live so that our people can live. It's our job. It's our duty to do what it is for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, for the greater world, and certainly for our people. For we must not lose hope. Chayei Sarah, the life of Sarah. Sarah and Abraham went through it all. And they lived till, okay, those ages may be a little crazy, but they lived their lives, opening their tents to accept, to love, to be there for each other, and for the world. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulafate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia. Olo tikvatenu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Liotam chofshi be'artzenu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Couple of announcements. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Thursday. Tomorrow we'll be back here tomorrow and Friday morning at 9:30. Friday night is in person, so we hope that you will be able to be with us. For those of you that have joined us in person, you know that there's a certain feeling about being together. It's an hour of your time. Mike will be hanging out, our keyboard guy, a little bit after to share some music with us, secular music, music of love and hope. So we hope that you'll join us for that. That's 7:30. Also, of course, I'm here. That's 7:30 on Friday. Saturday morning is Saturday morning at 9:30, of course. Monday night, November 13th, 7:30 to 8:30, I will be teaching with Rabbi Jamie Shalhevet, dear friend and neighboring congregation. There's a program for middle schoolers and their parents and guardians called Navigating Anti-Semitism When It Hits Close to Home. So we will be having conversation there, being listening, sharing, learning. Your children and yourself can invite friends. Absolutely. This will be going out this afternoon, so you'll have that information for yourselves as a place to go and listen. It's not exactly all the answers that we need, but certainly our middle schoolers are struggling and need some place and space to talk and listen, as well as our parents do as well. In addition to that, I'm just looking for the Sunday, November 12th at 2:00 at Eisenhower Park, United for Israel, Long Island Stands Together, is I don't know if I would call it a rally, but a togetherness. UJA Federation, JCRC of Long Island, all of those heavy hitters are promoting that. So that's another opportunity. I should have said it Sunday before Monday, but whatever, the days are the days. On Thursday, I will be speaking as a panelist. Wish I knew more about what it was, but anyway, as a panelist on Thursday the 16th at 7:00, a conversation for LGBTQ and its allies, and how the importance of supporting Israel is the topic. When I have more information, I'll of course share that with you, but that is at the LGBT network, which I believe is in Hop Hog. So more information on that to be shared. I am grateful for all of you who joined this morning. It's so important that we continue to show up together with each other, for each other as we go forward. Bet and Eileen, I hope that you're doing okay. I was going to check on you this afternoon, and you always have this way of just showing up. Bonnie and Heather and Elisa, all the others who have watched but haven't checked in, you are a blessing, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we'll see you real soon.